Good morning, y'all. My name is Jess Richardson. I hope you guys are having a fabulous day because, well, we woke up this morning and, like it or not everybody has that privilege. So I hope that you embrace your day and it's just marvelous. I've been thinking a lot about something that has been not heavy on my heart, it's just something that we do as a family, and it's education, learning, homeschooling, skills, like your hard skills, what you're good at, all of those types of things. So like most things that I talk about, it goes over a broad spectrum. But it's essentially learning. I think our culture has just sucked all the fun and joy and experimenting out of learning. And I realized very young in my life that I hated the style of learning that I saw in our culture. I dropped out of school when I was a sophomore, so right before I turned 16, and I was on honor roll. I had a 3.83 GPA. It wasn't because I wasn't smart. It was because they didn't captivate my attention. They didn't know how to actually reach me. I was working 3 jobs, and I would much rather go to work where I was actually learning something than be sitting at a desk or at a table trying to get something that doesn't apply to my life. And so years went on, and I ended up trying to go back to college. And I say trying because I made it a semester and a half. And I was right about $5,000 in debt. And I was sitting in a library, and hold on, back up a second. I had to retest in, and that is like the worst thing in the world, having to retest after you've been out of school. I think I'd been out for 8 years and then went back, and it was like, I used to be really good in math and sciences and was really low on reading, and then when I tested in, I was really low on math and sciences and then much higher on reading, and I think that's just because that's what applies to real life. Like, if you're going to function as a human, you read more than you do complex math. So I tested back in, and that just kind of sucked. I was still brilliant, but it sucked. And I made it a semester and a half, and I'm sitting in the school library with my bills, because as a single mom at that time, that's where you do everything, is in the library. It's where you have peace and quiet. And I hated the fact that I was paying to learn crap that I didn't even want to learn about. I hated it because I was having to do my general education. And then I have this fat bill for it. And I'm sitting in a library where everything is free. All authors put their best knowledge into their books, and then it's free if you use the library, with the exception of your library fees, because I always return stuff late. So I dropped out of school, and that was also when Reed and I got married. But my philosophy was, even if I return every book 2 weeks late, and I pay the library $100 a month, that is still a fraction of what I would pay for university. And so then I was like, okay, I have to equip myself with all these different skills, because if you don't have a university, a diploma, you don't have a degree, you don't have something, you have to be able to have all these other skills. So in my mind, for myself, not for my kids, this was before I even thought of raising them this way, which we have also done, I was like, I'm going to pretend I have this tool belt. And having a tool belt that you can't see, where you know your skills, requires an immense amount of self-awareness. So I had to be able to evaluate my skills and say, where am I a beginner? Where am I intermediate? Where am I an expert? And then I started filling my tool belt with skills. Now, the first one was easy. I started in a restaurant cooking when I was 13. My family had restaurants when my mom remarried after my dad was killed. So I started cooking in restaurants. So easy, service industry. Cooking, put that in my skill set. Waiting tables, service industry, front of the house, put that in my skill set. And then I got really good at it. So honestly, the service industry has been my backup all the way through. It, so much so that, 3.5 years ago, I started cocktail waitressing and then bartending. After having a career, just because it was an easy skill set for me. I could go to work, I didn't have to think. But had I not had that experience, I wouldn't have been able to get that job. And so I had the service industry as a skill set in my tool belt. Well, then I went on and got into construction and tile work and sheetrock and plastering and those kinds of things, and got really good at it. Not quite expert level, but good enough that I could get a job doing it. So I put that in my tool belt. And as life goes on, I just started developing hard skills, things that I could do really, really well. And it's just always there. It's not like the knowledge goes away or you forget how to do it. Most hard skills, like technology will change, but once you get the feel of how to lay tile, once you get the feel of how sheetrock is done, so many of these things are just common sense that if you're using the right products and the right tools and you've had enough practice, it's very easy. And so as life went on, I just filled my tool belt and then met Reed, and he had a tool belt, and his tool belt's different than my tool belt. And together our tool belts work really well because we can do absolutely anything. Between the two of us, we can build a house from the ground up all the way through. We both have different gifts, but we're good at it. So when it came time to have kids, and I don't even know what I'm talking about. We didn't we're going to have kids. We just popped them out super fast. So when we had kids and it came time for education, it was like, how are we going to do this? The number one thing was I didn't want my kids to hate learning. And when you force anybody to sit in front of a book or you force them to do anything, I don't care what it is, when you're forced to do something, you're going to hate it. So my number one challenge was to make them love learning. And that was to not make them do anything, but to really just focus on me and my skill sets and bring them along the way. First with our kids was you got to eat, right? So when they're little teeny, before they were reading or doing any kind of math, we're looking at cookbooks. We're getting involved in the kitchen. They're doing fractions because we cook everything huge. And they're learning to add and subtract fractions without even knowing that they're adding and subtracting fractions. And just cooking with them for so many years, over time, they're all amazing chefs. And our girls, who are 10 and 11 years old, are amazing bakers. And they can bake anything from sugar-free to vegan to gluten-free, whatever health challenges, whatever we're going through at the time, we can be like, we need some gluten-free banana bread. What can you whip out? An hour later, we'll have muffins. And those are skill sets, being able to go and look in a pantry and cook something based off what you have. What makes them so impressive to me right now is we only have half a kitchen. We don't even have an oven. They cook in a turkey roaster. They bake in a turkey roaster. There are adults who can't do that. And yet my girls who are elementary school age are doing it. Once they start to get that, because that's step one, right? You have to be able to feed yourself. If you can't feed yourself, you're kind of screwed as an adult. Then we start working on the other skill sets, and it's whatever they want, whatever there's passion, wherever the passion is. And it doesn't matter what it is, because if you're loving learning, it doesn't even feel like learning. You're just on this adventure, and you're doing it. And so, that's when the carpentry comes in, painting comes in, all these things, and you can learn anything around it. And the technology, my goodness, do you remember, y'all probably aren't, a lot of you aren't old enough. I had to do research with the Encyclopedia Britannica, and we were always poor, and so my only option was to use a 10-year-old 32-book set Encyclopedia Britannica. And that was the best I had, but it was never quite right, never accurate. Right now on our phones, that thing that I'm on, I can't show you because I'm recording with it. It's amazing. We have all the technology at our fingertips. There was one time, I was at work, I was bartending. We were in the middle of a bathroom remodel. We gutted our bathroom. We have one toilet. We gutted our bathroom. Reed ate something bad. he ended up getting food poisoning. So he's got diarrhea, he's vomiting, he's laying on the floor in the trailer, and the only person there who's even capable is our 16-year-old daughter, who then installs the toilet at 10 o'clock at night by herself while he's laying on the floor, and we've never been more proud. It's that can-do attitude. Once you learn to learn, and once you love to learn, you can do absolutely anything because we have all the knowledge at our fingertips. And then being able to transfer that energy from yourself, being self-aware, understanding where you're good, where you're not, and then passing that on to your kids, that is priceless. They can go and do anything in the world they want forever. And if they have lots of skills, they can adapt every step of the way. A hurricane comes through, I was managing a bar. Now, we're running a business doing construction, lumber, remanufacturing, building the coolest stuff ever. And I can't even find anything. Look, doggy bowl holders. It's coming. This was because of the storm. It's because we were adaptable. Because our tool belts were full of different skills that when the world changed, we were able to say which one works. And we tried different things. Like, if you followed us on Facebook, like, throughout the storm, like, there was a time right after the storm, we were giving out sweet tea for free, and Reed was playing his guitar. We were like, we really want the service industry, and that's awesome. And so we were playing, and we're like, okay, we're going to start a food cart. Well, then our house was also destroyed, and we spent all of our insurance money just to buy tools. That meant we couldn't buy a food cart. We had to buy tools. So now we have the tools. We remodeled our home, and it was like, well, let's go back into construction. Reed is an amazing trim carpenter. So we went into construction, or he did, and he's gone out of the house for 10 hours a day, and then when payday came around, he had to chase the guy down to get paid. That wasn't working either. So we tried something else. We tried salvaging and building products at home where we could all be together and we could work together. And that one worked. And that's all it takes. It wasn't like the storm happened and we instantly knew what we needed to do. It was like the storm happened. We tried something. Does it work? No. We ran out of money. That's a problem. Try the next thing. Does this work? No, we're not happy because we miss Dad. And we're not getting paid on time, both of which are a problem. So we tried something else. And then we hit our winner. And so really, I just want to challenge you to love to learn, to grow, fill your tool belt, understand where you're good, where you're not good, where your weaknesses are, and then do what you love, find something, and then know that you can always add more. Don't ever stop learning. That's the best part of life, because that's where the adventure comes in. So this is so long. Once again, I'm long-winded. Yak, 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 yak. That's one of my gifts. I talk and talk and talk. I just want to challenge you guys. Have a wonderful day. Be grateful for today. Fill your tool belt. Make a list of everything that you're good at. It's so much fun. And as you add them up, you start to feel really good about yourself. It's like, dang, I'm advanced at this. I'm a beginner at this. I'm an intermediate here. It's awesome to actually look at your skill sets, be self-aware, and say, I've got some good hard skills that I can work with, and I can adapt these to the current way of life. Okay, I love you guys. You're awesome. This just so pumps me up, and it's so much fun. Please share if you found value in this. Please share with your friends. Please tell someone. It's my heart to just really encourage you and to find joy, and I hope you love to learn, and if you don't, you're doing it wrong. So go out and try to glue something together so you can find your passion to learn to learn. Have a great day, y'all. Bye.